Lead for Good is based on 7 fundamental principles, or 7 competencies, we call them. The first competency, know your mission and purpose, that's really about people getting clear on what's important to them, what drives them, what they're passionate about. We worked with a woman a while back who realized that what she wanted to do was to teach and to help others understand the value of working in the nonprofit sector. And she ended up going back to school and getting a PhD. The second competency, invest in self and others, really means organizations, whether they're nonprofits or corporations, really need to take the resources, time and money, to invest in helping leaders be better leaders and also help the rest of the organization be stronger, help employees in those organizations. One of the nonprofits that we work with actually has made the decision that any employee, doesn't matter what level, but any employee who wants to get coaching is eligible to do so. And it's amazing the transformation that has occurred in the culture of that organization as a result of making that decision. The third competency is think strategically, and that has to do with an organization getting clear on why they exist, what difference they make, how they want to show up as an organization, and how they want to support what's going to happen now and in the future versus just focusing on the present. The fourth competency is inspire others. And this one really has to do with how you behave, or a person behaves as an individual, as a leader. So it's things like when you say you're going to do something, do it. Be consistent. Be dependable. If there's bad news to share or any kind of news to share, talk about it. Don't be afraid to address conflict. Deal with it directly, head on, and people will value and appreciate that, and they will feel valued and respected as employees of an organization. Fifth competency is share leadership, which really has to do with clarifying expectations and empowering other people to get work done. It's not being the bottleneck, having to check everything and make sure it's all perfect before something is released, if you will. That's sharing leadership. The sixth competency is building strong community relationships, and this is really about a community pulling together and everybody working towards the same thing. The word that's floated around these days in the sector is collective impact. So it could be people from government, education, businesses, as well as the nonprofit community, all pulling together to address a systemic issue. And the final competency, number 7, is achieve results. This one focuses on creating an organization that's sustainable through fundraising, traditional fundraising activities, or things like social enterprise, where an organization, a nonprofit organization, generates revenue by providing a product or service, for example, and earning income that way to help run their programs. The other component of this is making sure that you do a good job of measuring those results, because funders want to know that the dollars they're investing are making a difference. So whether you're measuring return on investment or the social return or social impact of what you're doing, you really have to have measures in place to say, yes, this was successful and it's worth investing in.
Lead for Good is dedicated to carrying on the work of our founder, Karen Ramsey, and doing whatever we can to bring to fruition her vision that every nonprofit thrives with great leadership. The 7 nonprofit competencies that Karen defined have become a powerful compass for me and for our board of directors in steering the Lead for Good organization. Using each competency as a touch point prompts timely and important questions for us and provides ongoing inspiration.
In 2011, I was diagnosed with a really rare genetic disorder called von Hippel-Lindau syndrome, VHL for short. There are about 10,000 of us in the U.S. and about 200,000 throughout the world, so it is a rare genetic disorder. And as a result of that, I ended up with kidney cancer, and I had the cancer removed. Everything looked like it was great, and then a few years passed, and lo and behold, the kidney cancer had metastasized. So I now have kidney cancer in my brain, in my lungs, and in my pancreas. And as a result, because it is metastasized, it's stage 4, and it's a terminal diagnosis. So last year I was told I had 2 to 3 years to live. And that's a big blow, but I can tell you that having those 7 competencies, the 7 leadership competencies, as a foundation for me to draw on has really helped me navigate the whole healthcare maze. They've served as a compass for me, and I think I'm doing much better because I've been able to draw on those leadership skills to help me be able to advocate on my own behalf and get this kind of care and support I need. My partner in all this has been Mayo Clinic Hospital in Scottsdale, Arizona. In terms of the competencies themselves, when I talk about being clear on mission and purpose, when I learned that I was imminently dying, it became real clear right away that my focus was on relationships and the people I loved, and all the other stuff, not so important. So you know how they say, live every day like it's your last? That happened because I didn't know how much longer I was going to live. So that's how the first competency really showed up for me. The second one, about invest in yourself and others, I made the decision, even though nobody told me I needed to do it, I made the decision to completely change my diet and also start exercising like a maniac. So I have a whole foods diet, no dairy, no gluten, really changed everything about how I eat. And it's made a big difference in how I feel, because this isn't just about how long I live, it's about the quality of the life that I'm living. So that has really been a positive change for me. The third competency, thinking strategically, for me it's been a balancing act. I've had to think about, okay, let me get all my papers and my stuff in order, right? So trust and will and all those kinds of things. Let me get all those squared away, what palliative care is going to look like. But also I need to balance that with living in the now and enjoying the now and doing fun things with my husband and children so that there's some great memories for them to be able to draw on when they're feeling sad or when they miss me. So that's the strategic part. Inspiring others, it's kind of interesting. That's what people say to me all the time, is how inspiring I am. I don't know that I totally get that, except that I know part of inspiration is doing a good job of communicating. And I've taken advantage of an organization called Caring Bridge, and I do regular updates about what's going on. I get scanned all the time. All the time. And so I share what's going on, how big the tumors are, whether they're shrinking, whether they're stable, what surgeries I have coming up, that kind of stuff. So I think that is helpful to people so we stay connected. And even if I don't really have much news at all, I'm just sharing what's going on in my life. The fifth competency is share leadership. And that one really showed up big time for me with trying to manage my health care, because I spend so much time in the hospital, at the hospital, getting screens, going to doctor's appointments. I couldn't continue working. So I had to retire, and I had to ask someone to step in as the new leader of Lead for Good. And it was so near and dear to my heart. I founded the organization. It was what was so important to me, to bring leadership development to CEOs and other leaders in the nonprofit sector. It was hard to give it up. At the same time, Laura Atwood, the new CEO, has done a fabulous job. And the board has really stepped up, and the strategic direction that they're going is just fabulous, and I am thrilled. The sixth competency is build strong community relationships. And this one's also really been a big component of advocacy for my illness. I got actively involved in the VHL Alliance out of Boston. In fact, I'm now chair of the board of that organization. And as a result, We are partnering with other hospitals and healthcare providers actually throughout the world to create a database so that we can keep track of all those 200,000 people who have VHL and figure out what's most helpful for them in terms of lifestyle, and even things like dental care seems to matter for VHL patients. So I've very much plugged into the VHL community. It's a complicated illness and it involves so many different parts of the body that I've created a partnership with the Mayo Clinic. They agreed to become a clinical care center for VHL, which requires, I think, 13 different specialties, different doctors who are included in that group so that we can follow all the appropriate protocols for VHL. They're serving me, I'm getting all the care that I need, they're doing a great job, and they're also making those services available to other VHL patients throughout the country. And the last competency is achieve results. So, the big achievement is I'm still here and able to talk coherently about VHL and about those 7 competencies and lead for good. I'm a year into my terminal diagnosis and I feel great, and all my tumors are currently stable, and so I'm hopeful that that prognosis of 2 to 3 years isn't accurate in my case, and I can come back and talk about this 5 years from now and still be kicking. My wish for other nonprofit leaders is that they invest the time and energy to grow and develop and become the best possible leaders they can be. It'll make their lives better. They will be able to balance work and home much better because they'll be able to delegate and they'll feel more confident in the work they're doing. I also wish that they select to work in organizations that really spark a fire in them, that they feel passion and excitement about the work that they're doing. So they want to get up and out every day.